Mike Boynton got win number 100. Mike Boynton also don't believe in the term secret sauce for this team because the success was not built in secret. So for Bedlam and basketball, in Boone we trust. Okay, no, not that one. Well, technically, yeah, both of them.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. We are available on all of your podcasting platforms as well as YouTube. Today, we are partially brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment mean more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So yes, last night was a fun one. And yes, I said in Boone we trust. And yes, you could say both of them for those who forgot. Boone Pickens actually did come to Oklahoma State University to play basketball for the legendary Henry-Iba, whose name is on the side of the walls there. But this time we're talking about Kalib Boone. Guys, I may not be everyone's cup of taters, but, give it a little time. Give her a little time. I'll win you over in due time. If someone says that they're tired of me talking about the Twin Towers, well, just go ahead and tell them that they need to throw on some earmuffs, my darling, because how do we not talk about the dude who just scored 20 buckets in a row? Since the Texas game in Austin, he hadn't missed a bucket for 20 shots in a row until the game last night in Norman. As we obviously take out OU 71-61 in a Bedlam sweep. Yes, it felt good, not just because of the win, but realistically, it does a lot from a bracketology standpoint because of what OU just did to the number 2 team in America in Alabama. After completely taking them to behind the woodshed, we were able to do the same thing, right? And so if you knew from a bracketology perspective, they were viewed as fairly highly, right? After what they did to number 2 Alabama, this definitely strengthens our resume, right? No doubt about it. But then again, from the Twin Towers perspective, Moussa Cissa at 85% is better than over 85% of the big men in America at 100%. If I need to say it again, I will. Moussa Cissa at 85% is better than 85% of the big men in America at their 100%. That's how good he is. Him and Kalib Boone, they go 16 for 20 together from the field. They chip in double-digit rebounds together to go along with Woody Newton's 10 rebounds to help us in that edge with the 42-32 rebound advantage on the glass. That's the thing that we kind of, missed against Texas and Austin. The only team in the Big 12 athletically that I think you could say is potentially probably better than us from an athletic standpoint, maybe Texas. And we have played in 2 games. One game, we could have won. We should have won with Kalib Boone. And then the other game in Austin, we offensively showed up, and it was the first time all year our defense kind of took a little bit of a back seat. And again, didn't have Moussa Cissa. So we're seeing little snippets of the success that we can have and what we can do when they're both playing together at the same time. The biggest surprise to me is that at one point in time, we held a 22-point lead. We definitely scaled everything back for a while because of things like Moussa Cissa's injury, making it a little bit of a necessity to put him on the bench if he doesn't need to be out there. Don't put extra stress on him that doesn't need to be there. I completely get it. And so even though him and Kalib combined for 18 points apiece, it could have got a lot worse because they both only really played 18 minutes apiece. And if we're trying to keep these guys healthy, this is the recipe for success. Avery Anderson obviously continues to come along. And I'll be honest with you guys. I was definitely of the camp, not even just a couple weeks ago, of wondering whether Avery was ever going to take that next step, because he's had games where he's dropped 22, 28, 31. And even dating back to his freshman year, the talent was just crazy. But you could never really control it enough to see what it was going to end up being. I've thrown the comp out to Spencer Sanders, just in the same idea of we're about to see this next step. We're about to see this next step. And it just kind of hung in the background for quite some time with Avery. And now we're seeing him hit his full stride, possibly. That's the same with Kalib Boone, right? Kalib Boone was somebody that we knew coming in could potentially develop into a guy that could play at the next level. And now here recently, you're starting to see that, right? And as Avery continues to get better at stretching the floor alongside John Michael Wright, even though we brought John Michael Wright in, especially there towards the middle of the season, to kind of be the guy that was running the show, to open up things more for Avery and Bryce Thompson. So as their games continue to evolve, is that question being asked? Is this the evolutionary process for Avery Anderson that we're seeing right before our very eyes right now? It very well could be. It could be happening, right? Because he chips in another 12 points last night for the Bedlam dub. Caleb Asbury looks much, much more confident and relaxed. While being a big-time 3-and-D guy, right, he also has proven that he's got some pretty big-time springs in his shoes as well. Seeing Woody Newton find his, rhythm, right? And watching him come alive as the true stretch four, the only true stretch four that we really have after losing Keelan. He's becoming the weapon that he always thought he would be, right? When he went to Syracuse, he envisioned himself as being somebody that was, going to be in the upper echelon of the rafters. And it just, for whatever reason, didn't quite pan out. Comes here, he still thinks that he has all of those talents. He has all those aspirations. Then he has some family stuff to transpire. Then he had to be away from the team for a few weeks. And then, he got down on himself, questioning whether he was good enough to come back and if he should be at this level. And is he wasting his time, so on and so forth. And him coming back for the Christmas break was really good for him. It was really good for the team. And for him to realize, I definitely still have a piece here. I have a piece of the puzzle that I'm responsible for. And thank goodness that happened. Thank goodness these guys are so close. Thank goodness they're so bought into Mike Boynton, or else we would have lost him for that break. And, who knows if he comes back or not. Everything just, sometimes works out the way that it's supposed to, the way that we all wish that it would. And it's a breath of fresh air, as is Mike Boynton. I don't want to beat that horse. Y'all know how I feel about Mike Boynton as a person and why he's such a good ambassador for the university and why he very well, as long as he wins, he'll hold the keys to the kingdom for quite some time. Speaking of holding the keys to the kingdom, one way you might be able to help yourself in that department, maybe getting a bigger kingdom, is to check out FanDuel. Because this year we've got the Super Bowl coming up, and I've already told you, the only app that you're really going to need for your Super Bowl party is FanDuel. It is America's #1 sports book. We are very, very, very excited, as you already know, to be partners with FanDuel now. From the Locked On side of things, the growth, the exponential growth is what we're really excited about. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with the no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from money line, point spreads, who will score the next touchdown. FanDuel, it's a sportsbook app that is safe, secure, and very easy to use. And best of all, you get all of your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment mean more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. This basketball thing, what can it grow into? You heard friend Priscilla live talking about how he thought that us making the Sweet 16 is not completely out of the realm of possibility. And again, guys, this isn't, a fan, right, standing up on the bar top, hooting and hollering about how we're the best thing since sliced bread, and we have too much orange Kool-Aid in our system to know what's good for us. We're talking about a dude that studies basketball for a living, has for most of his entire life, basically his entire life, has been this. So when friend Priscilla says that we have a good enough basketball team to make a run at the Sweet 16, it's because he does know what he's talking about. Is he saying that we will? No. Is he saying that it's very probable? No. He's just saying that if we continue at this rate, right, it's definitely more than in the realm of possibility. Us making the tournament at this point in time, with the way things are right now, I don't want to say it seems like a foregone conclusion, but I don't know. It almost feels that way. Because in this conference, we already know all you got to do is be good enough to be close to the dance at the end. And oftentimes you'll find a way to sneak yourself inside there. So now that we have some big games coming up, right? We're on a little bit of a run here. We've got TCU coming to Loyd-Iba Arena on Saturday, 1 p.m. I have been hearing that the crowd that is expected to be on hand is going to make my day. It's going to make me very happy. I hope that's the case because you guys know my affinity for Loyd-Iba Arena and just my main goal for basketball when we got Kalib Boone on the show was to kind of help get his name out there, and maybe it can again continue to help in this name, image, and likeness area. But more than anything, it was just to get people to buy into going to Loyd-Iba. I thought maybe if you hear it from the players, right? Maybe if more people hear it from the players' mouths themselves, it'll mean more. Now, as has been proven, when it comes to some of the football conversation, that's not always the case. But this momentum, it's going to be hard to slow down. It's going to be hard for somebody to slow our momentum down. So we get a big win. Jamie Dixon is going to have his team ready to go. TCU is very, very good. And he's a legend, right? And now they know they're playing for more. So this would even be a bigger win, right? There's a crescendo effect, of course. But if you just keep stacking, especially the home ones, you just got to steal a couple on the road. We just stole one on the road. Now we've got a couple back-to-back at home. Because we got TCU Saturday, and then next week we got Texas Tech coming to town. And I'm really hoping that the 11,000, potentially 12,000 plus is definitely a real thing. We helped put over 13,400 in Norman, Oklahoma last night. And we're on this run, and clearly the players are feeling it. It's hard not to be excited, right? It's hard not to sit here and wonder what it would be like right now to have another shot at UConn. I actually saw people were making jokes about how Mike Boynton purposely lost against Southern Illinois so that way he could have his 100th win in this fashion inside the Loyd Noble Center. Obviously, that didn't happen, but, I mean, there's not really a better way to remember your 100th W than in that fashion. And let's face it, it's not like we go to Norman and blow the doors off of them very often. It's the first time we won by, this kind of margin. With it could potentially be worse than, I think they said either 2004, 2006. It's impressive what we're doing, but it's going to be more impressive if we can pack it out for TCU. It's going to be even more impressive if we can pack it out for Texas Tech. TCU, again, it's a big matchup, and it's a weekend. And we're going to have some big-time recruits on hand in the building for that one. So spread it out, guys. Every way physically possible that we can make sure that we get over 13,000. That would be massively, massively beneficial. It's good to feel excitement. There was a little stretch there with Gundy and football and Dunn and wide receivers, and it just, it wasn't a bowl game. It wasn't a fun time. And then basketball, right? It was fair to maybe have concerns early on, like, oh, great. What's this going to be like? And now you're kind of seeing it. So please, let's do what we can and get it out to the masses. We can get a 13,000 plus crowd on hand. It'll do something. And it's clearly doing something for these guys, right? And for that in and of itself, I know we're all pretty excited and pretty happy for them. But it's not just them, guys. It's not just the men. Jacie Hoyt, she could be my hero, right? It's very, very possible. It's very frustrating how Mike Gundy recruits and how he views recruiting to some degree. When you have people like Josh Holliday, who can recruit with anybody, Coach Kenny Gajewski for softball, he can recruit with anybody. Mike Boynton, men's basketball, he can compete and recruit with anybody. And now it just continues to get better because Jacie Hoyt is doing the same thing. I mean, the transfers that she brought in were a big deal. And one of the transfers she brought in just so happens, right, to right now be leading the country. And so many three-point categories, it's insane, guys. What Laura Garzon's been able to do since transferring in from Villanova has been nothing short of amazing. And she's not even a starter. She's like the six-woman rotation. She could start. She'd start at a lot of places. She's good enough to start. But she has a role carved out that, a lot of people would be envious of. And then having, your Okies come back like Claire Chastain and Taylon Collins and Terryn Milton. And then for Terryn Milton to go crazy and put up 22 points as we pushed late to take control of the game to beat the Lady Red Raiders of Texas Tech, 86-74. Whenever you score 25 points in the fourth quarter, right, you're going to give yourself a chance. Whenever you're a team that is designed to shoot over 50% from the field, it's kind of important to do that. But the crazy part is when we struggle, which is not very often from behind the three-point line, when we can do that and still win the game, I mean, that's the sign of evolution that we talk about in every other sport for every other guy. Shooting 50% from the field is great, but when you only shoot 26% from the three-point line, it's not always going to equal a win, especially with the way our offense is designed to function. But here we are. And Anna Gradossi has come on very, very well lately, right? She's kind of like Woody Newton. she's carving out herself a role right here as the season progresses. And the more the season kind of lingers on, the more involved she is. And once again, the whole thing with the recruiting angle is she came from Arizona. And when she was at Arizona, it's not like people were considering her to be a bust. She's traveled the world playing basketball with playing for Estonia. She's competed in the FIBA World Championships for years. So the moment is not too big for her. It's just she needed some time, I guess, obviously, even like Woody, to carve out a little bit more of a role and what that role would be. And guys, this is a game where Naomi Alnanis didn't even get going. If she's limited, if you'd have asked me coming into the season if she was going to be limited and a bit able to step up every single week, it's not always, a W. Not every time does it equal that. But every single time it equals somebody getting better, somebody producing more than they did at any point in time in the season. So we're finding consistency in people getting better. It's not always the main culprits. And this is really what you need. What we talked about on a space earlier. Matter of fact, my buddy Trent did his Twitter space. He's got a Twitter space. I think we're going to be doing it this coming Monday with Jeremy Smith. So you guys make sure that you tune in for that, as we'll kind of, talk about his journey and let him kind of chop it up with the fan base as he's doing some cool stuff at East Central now. And they just had a pretty cool recruiting class that he's very high on. So he'll be able to talk about that as well. But again, Twitter space. Will we have him on a show eventually? For sure. But this is a good way where anybody really can connect with the fan base and have a multitude of angles kind of thrown in there instead of just one. So that'll be pretty exciting. Make sure you tune in for that. If you guys haven't already heard, Rashawn Woods will be on this program Saturday. So we've got Rashawn Woods coming Saturday, and then Tracy will be on, or Jeremy Smith, will be on that space with Trent and us Monday. There's just so much positivity going around. I wish we could just bottle it all up and find a way to force feed it down Mike Gundy's gullet. If you could just combine Mike Gundy and Mike Boynton, there's your Nick Saban that's better at recruiting. There we go. I said it. All righty, y'all. I think that's all we got for this one. As always. Oh, hold on. That's not true. I have to throw myself under the bus real quick because I got to get better at reading my emails. I did not read my emails appropriately, just kind of skimming through and not paying enough attention. So I missed the memo where I had all of the media credentials for the Senior Bowl. So I should have been there. I would have loved to have been there. I just I didn't pay attention enough. Again, this is on me. I will make sure that it doesn't happen again because I feel terrible not being there covering Jason Taylor II. But there is still a lot of people from Locked On that are out there doing very, very good coverage. So even if it's not O State, you'll still be able to kind of get a little bit of the nuts and bolts about what's going on and pick up some of the pieces on who is outperforming and kind of putting themselves in a position to have a very good Senior Bowl. So although I'm very, very sad, I have nobody to be sad at or mad at but myself. So make sure that you do, bounce around a little bit and try to make sure that you're sticking with some of the Locked On guys because their coverage is going to be firsthand, right there in your face. So as these guys continue to climb up the draft board, make sure you peek in and you see how Jason Taylor II and others are navigating these waters before they get prepared for the big shock and awe day. So, okay, yes, now that's all I have. So, as always, God bless, go Pokes, and thank you for making this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. Hit the like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the stuffs, all of the internet stuffs. All righty, y'all. Appreciate you. Love you. Later. Bye.